again, when Joe Biden was running in the general election, sense around here was this guy is a cipher. He is going to move to where he perceives the center of the Democratic Party is. And by that, it's not the center of where the voters are. It is also the center of where the elected officials are, as reflected in what the voters are voting for.
Although we should say he was the only major Democratic candidate of like maybe the top 7 that was not advocating for decriminalizing marijuana on his website.
That's right. That's right. I mean, and I think that we're starting to see that like he is like tentatively moving into that center position, which is, I mean, really, it is decriminalization at the very least on a federal level, as opposed to a legal structure for it. But decriminalization on a federal level, on to some degree, is all you need because the states we now at 20 states that have not just decriminalized it, but legalized it in some fashion or another, and everything is moving that direction. However, it's still very hard for you to do banking in states if you're running a dispensary. You can't ship it across country legally. You could theoretically be busted for marijuana possession federally. There are no people in jail right now in a federal level for possession only. However, if you've been convicted of possession on a federal level, and also remember, Washington, D.C., all of those people who have been convicted there are convicted under federal charges. If you've been convicted of it, it's on your record. It's going to hurt you with housing. Mm-hmm. It's going to hurt you with jobs. It's going to hurt you with a whole myriad of things. And to have that now expunged in a pardon is a big deal. But it also, if you're not going to if you're going to pardon everybody for federal possession of marijuana under federal laws of possession of marijuana, it only makes sense that you're going to get rid of the law, essentially, that would have put people in there in the first place. And that takes a bit of a process, but they initiated that as well. Here is Saul, incidentally, and I don't know why I bring this up now, was telling me yesterday that he saw Karen out on the street the other day and was laughing at them. I don't know why it makes me think of that when I
two independent thoughts.
Yes. John Berman, Al Stewart on CNN with S.E. Cupp as well. Here are the CNN folks talking about Biden's move.
I think this will be very impactful for Joe Biden and Democrats in terms of winning over a large portion of the voter electorate that thinks this is an important issue. There are a lot of Democrats, and 3/4 of Americans think that we should legalize marijuana. So that is something, certainly a factor in him making.
Pause it for 1 second. I mean, it's interesting how she's raising this because the last I checked, 3/4 of America are not Democrats.
No.
But they're going to introduce it as a partisan issue. I mean, you should pay attention to this when you ingest your media, because this is like the conflation of Democrats and sort of just like what is the average position, or this is done in so many different places now as a way of trying to leverage the polarization that exists.
Yeah.
3/4 of the American public think that pot should be legal.
And Alice Stewart is saying, that, yeah, he'll win over some people, but she has no seemingly self-reflection. Like, am I the one who's out of touch if 3/4 of Americans think this? Like, Biden is not, yes, he's a cipher, but to say he's at the center of this issue is actually incorrect.
No, he is slowly walking towards the center.
Moving
of this
towards
issue.
Like the great majority. Politically maybe centrist, but yeah, I mean, the idea that she has no like self-reflection about it's the Simpsons clip. Am I out of touch? No, it's the kids who are. Or in this case, it's the Democrats who are also apparently 3/4 of the country.
people can look up like what percentage of people in this country believe in evolution. And I actually think it's less. Only 30% of Republicans believe in evolution. Only 60% of Democrats and 60% of independents believe in evolution. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
So when you say like, well, it's going to help with some of these crazies who believe it should be legalized, 3/4 of the country.
We should pause to think about what that says about a political system that is just going for decades and decades against the will of that amount of people.
Without a doubt. And what it says about like, you know, CNN, like how many other, how many other 25%ers are you going to put on TV and give this poll, but continue.
I think this will be very impactful for Joe Biden and Democrats in terms of winning over a large portion of the voter electorate that thinks this is an important issue. There are a lot of Democrats, and 3/4 of Americans think that we should legalize marijuana. So that is something, certainly a factor in him making this decision. I see this as ploy to, in midterms, to gain support and gain voters. I happen to think that marijuana is a gateway drug. I'm not a big advocate for legalizing marijuana. Maybe for medicinal purposes, but not as a whole. Why are you looking at me? No, I'm saying as a whole. But here's the thing. Part of his announcement was to also advocate to governors do the same at the state level. That's not happening. I reached out to Governor Asa Hutchinson's office in Arkansas. They don't like this. He sees this as waving the red
I reached
flag
out to
of
Arkansas. I found the one of the most conservative states I could find, and they seem to be against it.
Yeah.
What a panel to talk about this too. S.E. Cupp and Republican strategist
This is
Alice Stewart. Almost said Alice Cooper.
this is so demented.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, less people believe in evolution. And she's talking as if this is some type of, she's saying it's a stunt. To do what 75% of the country wants, it's a stunt. And what's also even more crazy, she thinks it has medicinal purposes. Mm-hmm. She thinks it actually, so not only is 75% of the country, more than people who believe in evolution, are in favor of legalization, she also thinks it has like material benefit to people.
They have to concede that point at this point. It's the same way they've like evolved on climate change. It's not happening. It is happening, but it's not man-made. Okay, it's happening, but what do you want to do about it? Like it's become so overwhelming that they have to kind of give a bit of a quarter measure or whatever. And I mean, it's a window into how Republicans view the broader population, which is like giving the American public what they want and what they feel they deserve and what is just is a political stunt. We are a minoritarian party, and we impose our religious theocracy on people against their will, and most people support abortion rights, but we don't care. We rule and flex our muscles regardless. It's actually kind of lowly to give the people what they want. So even if 75% of Americans are in favor of this, that's what the stunt is, not when we are trying to appeal to our evangelical base by stripping women of their basic rights.
This is what they say when they say hard decisions. The hard decision is, it's very difficult for me to impose this type of austerity, this type of restriction, this type of constraints, this type of morality, mine, on other people. That's a hard decision. We need to be able to make those hard decisions.
I just want to know what happened to the free market, but that's just me.
Yeah, they have deep contempt.
It's alive in Arkansas. Go ahead.
No, I think that was it, right?
Oh, was that it?
Well, you want to play 10 more seconds?
Sure. Let her finish her point.
Yeah.
Do the same at the state level. That's not happening. I reached out to Governor Asa Hutchinson's office in Arkansas. They don't like this. He sees this as waving the red flag of surrender to protecting the lives of those who are victims of drug abuse.
All right, first off, it's not a red flag of surrender. It's a white flag. But
F up your surrender if you wave a red flag.
Can you pull up the statistics of people who have overdosed on marijuana, please? I'm really curious about that. Because we have legal opiates in this country, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, billionaires from overdoses. And fentanyl, incidentally, You can get it as a prescription. The idea that somehow we go from a legalized pot is a gateway to illicit drugs, or to drugs you can only get as a prescription, is just absurd. There's just no evidence for this. None.
Yeah, you can overdose on like Advil. Like NyQuil is more dangerous than marijuana. It's just absurd.
But also, like, anybody who knows pot smokers know that they're pot smokers. They're not like, oh,
Exactly.
where's the fentanyl now?
Yes.
Exactly.